मंगलमय मंगल करण वीतराग विज्ञान नमो ताहि जाते भये अरिहंतादि महान करि मंगल करि हो महा ग्रंथ करन को काज जाते मिले समाज सब पावे निज पद राज. So we were on to chapter 6, Moksha Marg Prakashak by Acharya Kalpa Pandit Todarmalji. And in this sixth chapter, the main point of discussion is denial of worshipping false god, false preceptor, and false religion. Out of which we have covered false god completely. In that we discussed about Vyantardev and other kinds of belief that people generally have regarding God. Then we were on to uh, the nature of the false preceptor. And under that, we were taking references from different scriptures. We discussed a few from Updesh Siddhant Ratnamala, page number 254. We had taken 3 words from there. Then say that the false preceptor is compared to a snake. So if a snake bites you, you may die. Only this life is lost. But if you get into false preceptor, then your many lives are spoiled. So it is more dangerous than the snake. So that was the last discussion that we had. Now moving on to references from other scriptures. First we will see from Sangapatta. Then we have something coming from Shat Paud, Darshan Paud. Then again Darshan Paud, then Darshan Paud, Darshan Paud. Then Sutra Paud, Bhav Paud, Moksha Paud. Then Atmanusashan. So many are coming references, and in all these references, one thing is common, that they are giving you reference regarding why you should not uh, believe in false preceptor. Okay, if you follow a false preceptor, your path of liberation uh, will be in the wrong direction. Okay, you will not be able to walk on the path of liberation. In Chedala by Pandit Daulat Ramji, you have already read, the Kuguru was compared to a Upal now, a boat made of marble. Okay, so when you make a boat of marble, it sinks. So that Guru also sinks and all his disciples also sinks. So it was compared to a boat of made of marble. Similarly, if you take shelter in a false preceptor, you are going to suffer in many ways, and the main part is that you won't be able to get into the path of liberation. Okay, so that was the last thing that we discussed yesterday. Today we will start with page number 254, second last paragraph. Further, many more verses are quoted there for strengthening right belief. I have made you co-host. You can share the textbook. Same may be studied from that book. Okay. So that book means Updesh Siddhant Ratnamala. In the first chapter of this Moksha Marg Prakashak, we also discussed about what should a preacher should be like, and how should a seeker should be like. We have discussed the characteristics of a true preceptor, a true preacher, and a true student. Okay, so from there also we got some references that how a preacher should be, and here we are discussing about the true preceptor, why we should not take shelter in a false preceptor. Okay. So now the references is from Sangapatta. It is said so. So you can read the English ones directly, and uh, Hindi we can avoid. It is not exactly Hindi, it is in Sanskrit. So we can avoid that and straightway read the English version, page number 254. 254. 20 pages. Yeah. Hmm. Further down. Yes, yes, yes. Further, further. Yeah. And in Sankapata, it is said so from there. Rajeshri ji, you read.
You'll have to scroll a little bit up. Yeah. See, some poor man boy, weakened by starvation, took the oath of a monk in some temple, and without forsaking sins, he got installed as Acharya by some group. He now lives in the temple as one lives in his own house, treats the monks of his congregation as members of his own family, think himself to be very great like Indra, considers knowledgeable persons as ignorant, ones like children, and treats other householders as paupers. So this is all a great wonder. Further, there is a poetical composition, etc. It's the meaning as it follows. The householders with whom he, the so called monk, has relation, neither by birth nor by being nourished, nor has he any business relation, and has also not to pay anything, treats them all like bullocks, and forcibly takes gifts, donation, etc. None is there to administer justice. Thus, there are many verses supporting the right faith, and the same should be known from that book. Here, someone says, these are the sermons quoted from Shwetambar scriptures. Why did you not quote them as evidence? For
Why did you
example,
quote? Why did you
why
quote?
did you quote them as evidence?
Hmm.
Example, if something which is forbidden by a degraded person, then the same is naturally forbidden for a high. Uh, Aditi ji, can you scroll up?
Hmm.
For the high status person, similarly, something which is forbidden even by these people for whom appendage of cloths, etc., are allowed, then in Digambar religion, such contrary practices are naturally forbidden. Moreover, in Digambar Shastra scriptures, also there are several verses supporting right faith. There is the Shat Pahuda, composed by Sri Kunkun Acharya. It is said so. Jinendra Dev's exhortation to disciples is that the root cause of religion is the right belief. Therefore, let the disciples of the Jinendra Dev possessing ears be aware that the man without right belief is not adorable. How can a false preceptor be instrumental in evoking right belief in a person who believes in the false preceptor? Without right belief, no other aspect of religion is possible. How could one be adorable without religion? Further, it is
Stop, stop.
mentioned.
Hmm. So in the first one, it is said that some poor man's boy weakened by starvation. So he was not getting food, so he took the oath of a monk in some temple and without forsaking sins. Okay. He has not forsaken sins. His sins are still existing in his life. He got installed as Acharya by some group, by some ignorant group. He now lives in the temple as one lives in his own house. So although he has become a monk and he still lives in the temple as his own house, treats the monks of his congregation as members of his own family, thinks himself to be very great like Indra, considers knowledgeable person as ignorant one like children, and treats other householders as paupers. Paupers means servant. So this is all a great wonder. Okay. So he is not a true preceptor, he is a false preceptor. And he thinks himself to be just like Indra, and he considers knowledgeable person as ignorant one and other householders as servant. So this is all a great wonder. Further, there is a poetical composition, which means that the householder with him, the so-called monk, as relation, neither by birth nor by being nourished, nor has he any business relation, and also has not to pay anything, treats them all like bullocks and forcibly takes gifts, donations, etc. None is there to administer justice. So, if you are a true monk, then you will not accept any gift, donations, and here the preceptor itself is forcibly taking gifts. So, uh, by and large, people are very innocent, and they don't have the ability to discriminate between a true preceptor and a false preceptor, and they just want to do something as a part of religion. So they don't do examination whether this is true or false. Like our parents were obeying, so we also obey. By tradition he does all the activities, and uh, where there is a decision to be made, they don't just think on those lines. So all their decisions are wrong, and they believe a false preceptor to be a true preceptor. Thus, there are many verses supporting the right faith, and the same should be known from that book. Here, someone says there are sermons quoted from Shwetambar scriptures. These are the sermons quoted from Shwetambar scripture. Why did you quote them as evidence? Because earlier in the fifth chapter, Todarmalji has shown the mistakes and blemishes existing in other religion, and in that fifth chapter he has also discussed the Shwetambar tradition, and now he is giving an example from the Shwetambar scripture only. So the question that has been raised is that this has been taken from Shwetambar scripture, so why you are quoting this as evidence, because this is already a false one. So then he says that if something is forbidden by a degraded person, then the same is naturally forbidden for a high status person. Similarly, something which is forbidden even by those people for whom appendages of clothes etc. are allowed. In Digambar tradition, we don't allow even a thread, okay, even a thread of cotton. So even if a monk keeps a thread of cotton, he is not a true preceptor. Okay. So true preceptor is devoid of all kinds of possession. He is a naked monk. Okay. So if that is forbidden in Swetambar tradition, then Digambar religion, such contrary practices are naturally forbidden. So whatever comes in his mind while writing the book, he has quoted it, and he says there is nothing wrong in it, because if it is forbidden in a scripture which is not very true, then of course it is naturally forbidden in the true scriptures. Then we move on to the Shat Paud by Kunkundacharya. So initially 6 books were found, and then subsequently 2 more were discovered. So then it became a Astpaud. Okay. So long the 2 were not discovered, it was referred as a Shat Paud. And in this Shat Paud, 6 Paud, each Paud is a different scripture altogether. There is no connection. But all the 6 and later on another 2 added. So all the 8 scriptures are related to the conduct of a monk. Okay. So if you want to see how a monk should be, you should read the scriptures of Astpaud, and then there is a very detailed description given in Bhagavati Aradhana, and something more can be read from Niyamsar. So all these three scriptures are specially dedicated to describe the life of a monk, and from there we can just read and analyze how a monk's life should be. What are the good practices and what are the blemishes that the monks are making because of ignorance. Everything has been discussed in detail. So this is from Darshan Paud. Jinendra Deva's exhortation. What is this exhortation? It is Jinendra Deva's divine voice, Divya Dvani. Okay. Preaching, sermons to disciples is that the root cause of religion is right belief. Dansan mullo dhammo. Okay. Dharma ka mul darshan. Darshan here means right faith, right belief. So the root cause of religion, the root cause of manifesting passionless religion is right belief. Samyak darshan, darshan. Therefore, let the disciples of Jinendra Dev possessing ears, possessing ears means they have the capacity to listen and understand. Be aware that the man without right belief is not adorable. Okay. So there is no question of any kind of adoration to a person who does not have right belief. Okay. So first and foremost is the right belief. First you have to manifest right belief. You get into the path of liberation, and then you progress in the right direction. Unless and until right belief is manifested, you are still in the wrong direction. Okay. Or your direction may be true, but you have not reached the uh, point of right belief. How can a false preceptor be instrumental in invoking right belief in a person? So he is himself a false preceptor, so he cannot be instrumental in evoking right belief in a person who believes in that false preceptor. Without right belief, no other aspect of religion is possible. How could one be adorable without religion? So, first and foremost condition is you have to realize yourself, you have to experience all self, and you become a right believer, and then some form of uh, adoration could be possible. Now, moving further, we continue with Darshan Paud only. It's the verse number 8, then 12, 13. So, continuously we will read 3 verses, and Aditi ji, you can read.
Those who have fallen from right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct are the worst polluted amongst the polluted. Such persons, being themselves spoil other persons also who follow their preachings.
Hmm.
Further, it is mentioned,
Hmm.
जे दस दस दसणेषु भट्टा पाणे पंडितान दसण धारण ते होतील लल्लमुआ बोही पुण दुल्हा तेसी. Meaning,
Tesi ma, ma. When there is a dot at the last, it is ma. And when
हाँ
it is in
तेसी.
between, it is na.
Those people who have themselves fallen from right belief but seek adoration from other right believers will become crippled and dumb in the next birth. That is, they will be born as one sense immobile beings like trees or plants, and achievement of self knowledge will become extremely difficult, a rarity for them. J.V. Panditi च तेसीम जानता लज्जा गारव भयेन तेसिम पी णथी बोही पावम अणुमोयम माणाणम. Meaning, these prestige and fear bow to them, being supporters of evil, are devoid of, that is, not able to attain right knowledge. What type of jeeves are these? They support the wise. Even by honoring the sinners, one has to suffer from the consequence of supporting the sins. Further, it is mentioned, Jassa parigahan
You can directly read the English.
Okay.
No problem.
That outward posture of a monk in which even little or more possession is found is censurable in omniscience preachings. Only possessionless naked saint is to be revered as true monk. Further, it is said that the one who is indolent in practicing religious conduct is full of blemishes, is worthless like flowers of sugarcane, is devoid of virtuous conduct. He is an acrobat monk in the garb of nakedness, is a disguiser like a buffoon. Here, the naked posture, the example of a buffoon is possible, but if someone is found with possessions, then this comparison too is not sustainable. Such Jews whose intellect is infatuated by sins, if they indulge in sinful acts, even by adopting the naked posture of jinn, are to be known as the idols of sins and fallen from the right path of liberation. It is further stated that those who have excessive love in cloths of 5 kinds, keep possessions, indulge in begging, and are engaged in adha karma, types of faults concerning preparation and taking of food, all such persons and so-called monks are to be known as fallen from the right path of liberation. Many such Gatha Sutras are found in Ashtapahut for reinforcement of right belief. One should read them, and in Lingapahud, composed by Sri Kundkund Acharya, very strong criticism is found written about such so-called monks who have adopted the naked posture of Jinnah, indulge in injury, householders' acts, and acts of incantations.
Stop. So you see, reference has been given from different scriptures written by acharyas only, and it says that those who have fallen from the right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct are the worst polluted, because first of all, getting right belief is so difficult. You have to put in so much of effort, and it's a continuous effort that we can put in, and then we can get the desired result of right belief. And once we acquire it, and again if we fall from it just because of our carelessness, then you become the worst polluted, worst corrupted amongst the polluted. Such persons being themselves spoiled, spoil other person also who follow their preachings. So they themselves have fallen, and those who follow them, they will also fall. Okay. Then again, same case, same kind of case, that those persons who have fallen from the right belief, but seek adoration from other right believers. So they have fallen from the right belief, but still they want to have adoration from other right believers, will become crippled and dumb in the next birth. So he will bind such type of inauspicious karma that in the next life he will become crippled and dumb. That is, they will be born as one-sensed immobile beings like trees or plants, and achievement of self-knowledge will become extremely difficult, a rarity to them. So if you are indulging in any kind of false belief, the result is very, very pathetic, right? The next one. These saints have fallen from right belief. Even after knowing this thing, those person also who out of shyness, lajja, false prestige, garav, garav means pride, okay, false prestige, and bhai, bhai is fear, and fear, woe to them, being supporters of evil, are devoid of, that is not able to attain right knowledge. So those saints who have fallen from the right belief, and even after knowing this, if you still uh, if you still respect those people as a true perceptor out of shyness or false prestige or fear, then you are not able to attain the right knowledge. What type of jivas are these? They support the sins. Even by honoring the sinners, one has to suffer from the consequence of supporting the sins. Okay. So we have to be very careful whom we select as our guru. Okay. If he is not possessing the right qualities, then he is not a true guru. So we have to examine, and then only we can take shelter from them. In Sutra Paud says that outward posture of a monk in which even a little or more possession is found. Okay. So even if it is a possession of a small thread of cotton, still he is not a true preceptor. Okay. Insensible in omniscience preachings, only possession naked saint is to be revered as a true monk. All others are false monk. Then in Bhavpaud, the one who is indolent. Indolent means not very active, not very enthusiastic. One who is indolent in practicing religious conduct, okay, is full of blemishes, mistakes. It is worthless like flowers of sugarcane, is devoid of virtuous conduct. He is an acrobat monk. Acrobat monk means nut shraman. So nut, acrobat, the people who walks on a rope and perform different kinds of high risk stunts, So those are acrobats. So he is just an acrobat monk. In the garb of nakedness is a disguiser like a buffoon. What is buffoon? Buffoon is a person who tries to please the king to get money from him. Okay, so it's just like a disguiser uh, acting like a buffoon. He wants to please the other person and get something out of that benefit. Okay, so he's an acrobat monk in the garb of nakedness, is a disguiser like a buffoon. Here in the naked posture, the example of a buffoon is possible. Okay. Uh, but if someone is found with possession, then this comparison too is not unstable. So the moment if you have any kinds of possession, there is no chance of considering him as a true monk. Okay. Now the next in Moksha Pahud, such jivas whose intellect is infatuated by scenes. If they indulge in sinful acts, even by adopting the naked posture of jinn, omniscient, are to be known as the idols of sins and fallen from the right path of liberation. Okay. So simply becoming naked does not make you a true monk. Okay. The level of passion should go away. 3 levels of passion, when it goes away, that is the time you become a true monk. Okay. So these all people have fallen from the path of right, path of liberation. Then again in Moksha Pahud, 79 verse, those who have excessive love in clothes of 5 kinds. In the footnote, the what are the 5 kinds of clothes is mentioned. Clothes of tree bark, leaves, cotton, jute, leather, silk, wool. Okay, these are the 5 kinds of clothes. Keep possessions. Okay, indulge in begging and are engaged in other karma. Other karma means sinful activities. Type of faults concerning preparation and taking of food. All such persons, so called monks, are to be known as fallen from the right path of liberation. Many such couplets verses are found in Ashtapaud. For reinforcement of right belief, one should read them. Okay. So everything is mentioned in the scriptures. Kunkunda Acharya have mentioned everything in this Ashtapaud, how the conduct of a monk should be, what should he follow, and what could not be followed, and what the householder can do for a monk. You know, everything is mentioned in Ashtapaud. Many such couplets verses are found in Ashtapaud. For instance of right belief, one should read them. And in Lingapaud, which is again written by Kunkunda Acharya, and it's a part of Ashtapaud, composed by Sri Kunkunda Acharya Dev, very strong criticism is found written about such so-called monks. So Kunkunda Acharya himself was a monk, okay, and he wrote wrong things about the monks. Why? Why in the first place? Because there are two reasons. One is that the householder and other normal people will not get cheated by those people, and the other is uh, other is that they by giving respect to this false monk, they bind inauspicious karmas. Okay, so very strong criticism is found written about the such so-called monks who, having adopted the naked posture of jinn, indulge in injury. Injury is hinsa. Then householder acts is aramb, like cooking food and all. And acts of incantations, yantra, mantra, chanting of mantra and all. So even if the posture, he has adopted a naked posture, and if he is also indulging in this, all these are false perceptor. Now we will read from here onwards from Atmanusashan, written by Gunbhadra Acharya. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 references from Atmanusashan written by Gunbhadra Acharya, and the commentary on Atmanusashan is also written by Pandit Todarmalji. Okay, that's why you will find many references of um, Atmanusashan by written by Pandit Todarmalji. Now, what it says, just read all the all the 5 verses. Who is there? Okay, we are 4 people only. Okay, so Rajeshri, you again read.
It's a great pity that in this Kalikal, the fifth era, the aesthetics, after wandering here and there out of fear, like a deer, come near the town in the night from the forest. Here, even staying near the town is prohibited. Therefore, living in the town is assuredly forbidden. Can you go up? Here it is stated that a householder status is better than holding such aesthetic posture which may result in infinite births. What kind of aesthetic is those whose wealth of non-attachment gets robbed in the morning by the robbers in the forms of beautiful women, sidelong glances, and in the Paramatma Prakash composed by monk Yogindra Deva, it is stated, meaning The foolish saints, so-called monks, only take pleasure in the congregation of pupils, male and female, and in books. But the wise saints, real monks, devoid of policy, feel ashamed in keeping them, knowing that these are the cause of bondage. Who is the soul who is cheated by himself? He is that Jeev who has adopted that naked Digambar posture of great jinn, pulls out his hair with ashes, but does not give up all his possessions. O Jeev, those aesthetics who have been adopted the naked posture of jinn, keep agreeable possessions, are eating the same vomit which they have vomited earlier. They are censurable. Such many statements are found therein. Thus, in the Shastras, Jain preachings, the false preceptors, their false conduct, and attending on them is totally forbidden. And wherein the scriptures, Dhatri dosha, Dutta dosh, etc., 46 faults concerning the activity of preparation of food by householders and taking food by the monk Muni are described, they're pleasing the children of householders, conveying messages, indulging in the acts of teaching mantras, incantations, prescribing medicines, foretelling future, etc., and taking the food that has been prepared by self or get prepared by others and approved by self. All such activities are totally forbidden for a monk. But now, due to bad times, the monks take food, etc., by indulging in aforesaid faults. Further, the corrupt monks of the category of Parshvasta, Kushila, etc., are forbidden, and now so called monks are found possessing such characteristics. It is to be noted that those Parshvasta, etc., kind of monks live naked and possessionless. Aditi. Physically, whereas these, the present so called monks, keep different types of paraphernals. And there is the scripture, the Brahmari, etc., method of taking the food is described for the monks. But this so called saint, having excessive desire, takes food, etc., by afflicting the vitality of the donor. And they are clearly indulging in the injudicious, censurable, and sinful acts which are unbecoming of even the householders. Further, they disrespect the most vulnerable Jinna Bhima, install idols and shastras, etc., and rather considering oneself to be superior to them, they sit in a higher level. And likewise, many perversities are apparently seen, and yet they consider themselves to be true monks and like to be called the possessors of the Mulgun. In this way, innocent householders getting cheated by their praise do not ponder over the real religion, rather remain engrossed in their eulogy. But how will the great sin of perverse belief, in terms of treating great sin as great religion, not result in infinite transmigration? In Shastras, the one who misbelieves even a single word of the Jinnah's preachings is stated to be a great sinner. Whereas here, there is a total discard of the Jinnah's preaching. What else could be a greater sin than this?
Stop. So, initially, we were discussing Gunbhadracharyas, right? That in this fifth era, this is considered to be a Kali Kal, okay? And in this fifth era, the ascetics, after wandering here and there out of fear like a deer, come near the town in the night from the forest, okay? Here, even staying near the town is prohibited, therefore living in the town is assuredly forbidden. So you may say that we see monk, they walk on the road and that they were in this temple in a city like Mumbai. So how it is possible that they they can come to a city like Mumbai where there are no true arrangements of a food, you know. That means all these monks are not true, because if he would be a true monk, he will never come on the inside the city. At most, what they do is they come on the outskirt of city, and there the king used to go to that place. It was especially made for the monks. It is called Vasatika, Muniraj ki Vasatika. So in earlier times, the king used to make a Vasatika that is specially made for the monks who come from one, while they are going to another place. In between, they stay there for a night, and then again in the morning they start walking. So those kind of vasatika were built up by every king in their kingdom. So at most they come to there, and the king goes there to see the monk. You know, that was the practice. And nowadays, if the monks come into the city, and they also indulge in uh, taking donations, inspiring for donations, and inspiring for making temple and other facilities, you know. So all we have moved very far away from the true religion and true system. Then again it is stated in the 200 verse that householder status is better than holding such ascetic posture. Okay. So if you are not able to become a true monk, you can still become a householder. It is still better, which may result in infinite births. But uh, if you hold such false, uh, you become a false preceptor, then you may get infinite births. Okay. What kind of ascetic is this whose wealth of non-attachment, vairagya, vairagya sampada, wealth of non-attachment, gets robbed in the morning by the robbers in the form of beautiful women's sidelong glances? So what is this sidelong glances? Like woman looks at something by just moving the eyes, you know. So that's why it is called sidelong glances. Okay. So the wealth of non-attachment is robbed by the robbers in the form of beautiful women. So they fall prey to this kind of woman's gesture, and they are not the true monks. Okay. If it would been a true monk, there would have been no reaction. He would see the woman as a soul only and not as a woman. Okay. And again in Paramata Prakash, composed by monk Yogindra Dev, it is stated the foolish saints, so-called monks, okay, so they are foolish, they are not the true monks, only take pleasure in the congregation of pupils, male and female, and in books. But the wise saints, real monks, devoid of fallacy, feel ashamed in keeping them, knowing that these are the cause of bondage. Okay. So, in the congregation of monks also, the poaching happens. One acharya of another sect will ask pupils of another sect that you come into my congregation, I will offer you this facility, that facility, I will make you a upadhyay or a acharya, something, some kind of, you know, attraction they give to bring those pupils in their congregation. So this kind of poaching also goes among the acharyas, you know, nowadays. So that was what I explained here. Then in the next verse, 217, who is he whose soul is cheated by himself? Okay. He is that Jeev who, having adopted the naked Digambar posture of great jinn, pulls out his hair with ashes, but does not give up all possessions. So on one hand, he is doing pulling out his hair with ashes, like a true Digambar monk, but does not give up all possession. So long the possessions are there, you are not a true monk. Okay. So that particular soul is cheating himself. Okay. Then in the next one, O Jiva, those ascetics who have adopted the naked posture of jina keep agreeable possessions. So what are these agreeable possessions? Are eating the same vomit which they have vomited earlier. They are censorable. Okay. So who having adopted the naked posture of jinn. Let me check what they mean by agreeable possession. ये जीन लिंगो ओके अच्छा एग्रीबल पोजेशन मीन्स इष्ट परिग्रह को ओके so in the first place they have renounced the possessions and now they are again keeping those possessions then they are just like they have vomited earlier and then same vomit they are again uh, consuming it so these are the false monks. Such many statements are found therein. Thus, in the Shastras, Jina's preaching, the false preceptor, their false conduct, and attending on them is totally forbidden. And wherein the scriptures, Dhatri dosa, Duta dosa, etc., 46 faults uh, concerning the activity of preparation of food by his householders and taking of food by a monk are described. Okay. So the food taken by a monk should be devoid of 46 kinds of blemishes. It is mentioned in the scriptures. They are pleasing the children of householders, conveying messages, indulging in the acts of teaching mantras, incantations, prescribing medicines, foretelling future, etc., and taking the food that has been prepared by self or got prepared by others and approved by self, etc. All such activities are totally forbidden. So another thing that you want to check with whether he is a true monk or not, you should look at how he consumes the food. If the food is prepared particularly for him, then he is not a true monk. Because a true monk accepts food from any of the place, even only the condition is if he gets in a proper manner. Okay. So nowadays there are uh, bids being taken that who will give the first food, and for there if the acharyas is of very high category, then that beads goes into lakhs of rupees. Okay. That means it is prefixed that the monk will have food at this place, and so he is not a true monk because true monk never goes to a place prefixed. He goes naturally. If he gets the uh, right kind of process by which he can take food, then only he takes. Otherwise, he doesn't take. If he is a right monk, okay. Hmm. Further, the corrupt monks of the category of Parsvastha, Kushila, etc. So these are the different categories of monks, Parsvastha is one category, Kushil is one, then Glan. There are around, I think, 10 types of monks. So further, the corrupt monks of the category of Parsvastha, Kushila, etc. are forbidden. And now so-called monks are found possessing such characteristics. Okay. It is to be noted that those Parsvastha, etc. kind of monks live naked and possessionless physically, whereas the present so-called monks keep different types of paraphernalias, means possessions, okay, parigra. And there in the scripture, the Brahmari, etc. method of taking the food. Now, what is the Brahmari method of taking the food? Brahmar ki bhati, Brahmar, okay, like a bee. So, what the monks does is, no, he takes the food from the householder, and he is so um, he understands it so nicely that he will take little bit of food and quickly go away. Okay, so that is the right way of method of taking the food. But this so-called saint, having excessive desire, takes food, etc., by afflicting the vitality of the donor. Okay, so means they indulge in heavy food. The first of all, they don't say that we will come to food to any householder. Okay, so householder normally prepares little extra food, and in earlier days there used to be joint family, 40-50 people living in a house. So if one monks come to take the food, then it doesn't matter, one or two monks, because already food has been prepared for 48 people. So what they used to do, they used to eat less than their quota of food, and that's how each one will eat less, less, less. So these all will build up food for the monk. That is called Atithi Samvibhag Vrat. Okay. So that is how the food has to be taken. But if he has excessive desire to take food by afflicting the vitality of the donor, so he is not a true monk. And they are clearly seen indulging in the injudicious, censorable, and sinful acts which are unbecoming of even the householders. So they are not the true monks. Further, they disrespect the most venerable Jin Bimba, Jinas installed idols, and the Shastras, scriptures, etc., and rather consider oneself to be superior to them. They sit at a higher level, and likewise many perversities are apparently seen, and yet they consider themselves to be true monks and like to be called the possessor of the mool gunas, basic virtues, but they are not following the basic virtues also. Okay, so all these are false preceptor. In this way, they get their importance, venerableness, respect established, and the innocent householders, getting cheated by their praise, do not ponder over the real religion. Okay, so it is the fault of the householder that if they are not very alert, and if they are doing just for the sake of earning some auspicious karmas, then it is the fault of the householder. Okay, and the innocent householder. Nobody is innocent, but it is the ignorance, and because of ignorance, innocent word is used. Getting cheated by their praise, do not ponder over the real religion, rather remain engrossed in their eulogy, in their logics, in their justification. But how will the great sin of perverse belief in terms of treating great sin as great religion not result in infinite transmigration? Okay, so they are binding very high level of inauspicious karma, and uh, it will result in infinite transmigration. Okay, in Shastras, the one whom misbelieves even a single word of Jina's preaching is stated to be a great sinner. Whereas here, in such a behavior of a monk, there is total regard of Jina's preachings. What else could be a greater sin than this? Because these monks are not following the path as enumerated by the Lord. Okay, so they are anyways sinners. All they are committing sins by cheating innocent people. Now, the next topic is being started, and the heading of this topic is arguments supporting negligence in conduct and their refutations. In Hindi, it is called शिथिलाचार की पोषक युक्तियां, ओके, और उनका निराकरण and their refutations. Okay. First, in this category, refutation of those false arguments by which worship of false preceptor is established. Now here, Aditi, you read. Who else have joined?
Okay. Here someone argues, in the absence of preceptor, we shall be treated as having no preceptor, and the real preceptors are not found in the present times. Should we therefore not believe that these monks as preceptors? Answer. Those persons can only be treated as ni-gurus, preceptorless, who do not believe in preceptors. And the one who has belief in the true preceptor, but not finding the true characteristics of a real preceptor in the so-called gurus in this religion, does not believe in them, he cannot be treated as a ni-guru. For example, one who does not believe in God is called an atheist, and one who believes in God but not finding the true characteristics of real God in the so called gods in this religion does not believe in them, then he does not become an atheist. He further argues, in Jain scripture, the absence of omniscient Kevali Jin is described in the present time, but the presence of a real preceptor, possessionless naked ascetic, is not denied. It is not stated that the true preceptor monks will be found in particular regions, but it is stated that they will be found in Bharat Kshetra. Bharat Kshetra is a very vast region. The existence of true monks may be found in some part of it. That is why absence of true monks is not described. If you believe the existence of true monks in the same region where you live, then if you go in a region where even such kind of monks will not be available, then whom shall you regard as preceptor? For example, the availability of swans is described in the present time. But if the swans are not actually seen, then the other kinds of birds cannot be treated to be swans. Similarly, the availability of true monks is described in the present time. But if true monks are not actually found, then the other so called monks cannot be treated to be true monks.
Stop.
Further, he says,
Stop,
even
stop, stop. So,
Mhm.
the first logic here it is given. Uh, in this particular topic, there are 9 points, and we are discussing the first point and then the second point. So, first 2 points we have discussed. So, the argument was that in the absence of preceptor, guru, we shall be treated as having no preceptor. Okay. And the real preceptors are not found in the present times. Should we therefore not believe these monks as preceptors? These monks means the false monks, okay? So the false preceptor cannot be treated as a true preceptor, okay? If the true preceptors are not found in your region, then that does not mean that you will believe anybody as true preceptors, okay? So that is not possible. Those persons can be treated as ni-gurus, preceptorless, who do not believe in preceptors. But if you believe in preceptors and if you know the characteristics of a true preceptors, then you can identify it. And even if you are not finding, you will not settle in anybody else who is not a true preceptor. Okay. So this is something very important, that if we are not finding any true preceptor, we believe whatever preceptor we find that to be true is totally false. It cannot be that way. Okay. For example, one who does not believe in God is called an atheist. And one who believes in God but not finding the true characteristic of real God in the so-called God in this region does not believe in them, then he does not become an atheist. Okay. So this was the first point. The second point, In Jaina scriptures, the absence of omniscient Kevalgyan is described in the present time, but the presence of a real preceptor, possessionless, naked ascetic, is not denied. So this will, possessionless, naked ascetic will be there till the end of 5th era. We are just now at the beginning of the 5th era, which is of 21,000 years, and we are in the first 2000, first 3,000 years. Okay. So there will be 7 partition of 3,000 years each. So the real monk will be there up to the end of the 5th era. Okay. So if you are not finding any real preceptor right now, then you should look at some other places, because in scriptures it is mentioned that real preceptor will be available up to the end of 5th era. Okay. So it is our bad luck that we are not having right in front of us. We don't have access to that. But having said that, that does not mean that whomever you find as a naked monk, you treat him as a true preceptor. Okay. So you have to examine it, you have to, and the easiest point to examine is that how they are taking the food. If they are taking food in a pre-decided manner, then they are not true preceptor. A true preceptor will never tell that I will come to your place for food tomorrow. He comes suddenly. And if your preparations are there, then he will take, otherwise he will go away. Okay. So this was the second point. Now moving on to the third point. So this is the third point. Even the imparter. Priyanka, you read. From here. Further he says,
Jai Jinendra, sir.
yeah.
Further, he says, even the imparter of knowledge of one syllable is believed to be the guru, preceptor.
So your voice
How
is
should then
breaking
one
in between. I think
need to
there is
scroll
some
down?
internet problem at your end.
Hello. Yeah,
You have
sir,
some
can you
connectivity issue?
hear me?
Then leave it. I will. Rajeshri ji, you only read. No, she is also not there. So Aditi, you continue. You are not
Hello.
audible. You are not audible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now can I read?
Your voice is again breaking. So I think there is some issue at your end.
Should I read, sir?
No. Voice is breaking.
Priyanka ji, let me read.
Yeah.
Okay. Further, he says, even the imparter of knowledge of one syllabus is believed to be the guru. How should then one
Okay,
not,
sir. No worries, sir.
not be believed to be a guru who teaches us shastras and gives discourses on them? Answer. The word guru denotes a highly respectable person. So, in whomsoever, whatever types of greatness be possible, he is respected as guru in that sense. For example, from the family status point of view, the parents are termed as guru. Similarly, the teacher who imparts education is termed as guru in that sense. But here the issue is that of religion. Therefore, in the context of religion, he who is great from the conduct, dharma point of view, is to be treated as guru. But dharma in the name of charitra, true passionless conduct. In the scripture, it is stated that charita khulla dhammo, true conduct only is religion. Therefore, the possessor of true conduct can only be termed as Guru. For example, the bhuts, etc., are also called devs, but here in the context of true belief of Dev, only Arihanta Dev, omniscient God, is accepted as Dev. Similarly, the term Guru, though used in various contexts, yet here with a reference to true belief, the Nirgranth Guru, that is totally possessionless, naked, homeless, ascetic monk, only is to be believed as Guru. In Jain religion, the terms Arihanta Dev, Nirgranth Guru are profusely used. Here, someone asks, what is the reason that none else except the Nirgrantha is believed to be Guru? Answer. Excepting the Nirgranth, no other Jew possesses the supremacy in all respects. For example, if a greedy person delivers lectures on Shastra, then the listener regards him superior because he delivers discourses, whereas the discourser regards the listener superior because they offer him wealth, clothes, etc. Although outwardly the discourser is superior, yet being greedy internally, he does not possess superiority in all respects.
Stop. So 2 points we are discussing, point number 3 and 4. The point number 3, that Guru in general terms, your parents are Guru, your school teacher is Guru, but all these are considered as Vidya Guru. They are not the true preceptor as we say in Dev Shastra Guru. Okay. In Dev Shastra Guru, only Guru who is naked and devoid of 24 kinds of possessions, true saint, Bhavlingi Muniraj, he is only the true preceptor. Okay. So in religion, the Guru, when we say Guru in terms of religion, it has to be the Bhavlingi Muniraj, the true saint who has uh, eliminated the 3 levels of passion: Anantanubandhi, Apratyakhan, and Pratyakhan. And that's why they are the true monks. But dharma in the name of charitra, true passionless conduct, is religion. Therefore, the possessor of true conduct can only be termed as Guru. For example, the bhoot, demons, etc. are also called gods. But here in the context of true belief of Deva, only Aryan Deva is accepted as God. Similarly, the term Guru, though used in various contexts, yet here with reference to true belief, the Nigranth Guru, okay, Bhavlingi Guru, totally possessionless, naked, homeless, ascetic monk, only is to be believed as Guru. Possessionless, naked, homeless, ascetic monk only is to be believed as Guru. In Jaina religion, the terms Aryanta Dev, Nigranth Guru are profusely used. Now the next, 4th point. Again the question. What is the reason that none else except that Nigranth, naked possession-like monk, is believed to be the Guru? What is the reason? Excepting the Nigrantha, no other Jiva possesses the supremacy in all respects. The main criteria is the elimination of 3 quadruplet of passions. That is the essential criteria. For example, if a greedy person delivers lectures on Shastra, because he is intellect, he has got intellect, he has got good memory, he has got good oratory power, so he may deliver lecture on Shastra. Then the listeners regard him superior, okay, because he delivers discourses. Whereas the discourser regards the listeners superior because they offer him wealth, clothes, okay, and he gives lectures in such a manner that they are not hurt, because he is a greedy and he knows if I hurt them, they will run away. So he tells all the good things, even they are having faults in them, he will not mention that you are having this fault and that fault, for the fear that they will all go away. And he wants those people because he is greedy. Although outwardly the discourser is superior, yet being greedy internally, he does not possess superiority in all in all respects. Okay. So up to fourth point we have covered and our time is almost over. So we will continue next week. So there are 9 points in this particular topic, and then we will move on to the religion. So we have covered God, false God, we have covered false preceptor. We are almost at the end of it. And the next third topic will start is exposition of false religion and denial of faith in it. That will be the last topic of this chapter. And then we will end this chapter and move on to chapter number 8. Chapter number 7 will be taught you in 6th, 7th, 8th sem. I think 8th sem, yeah. 8th or 9th sem will be chapter 7 and then chapter number 9 in the 9th or 10th sem. Okay. So this is how we are going to complete this Moksha Marg Prakashak. 8th chapter is very important and that will cover after the finishing this 6th chapter. So why so much of detail is being given about the false gods and false preceptor? Because by and large, people get mesmerized when a person who has oratory skill and who reads Shastra and give his own interpretation, people generally tend to believe them as true preceptor. But you have to do the examination, whether he is taking food prepared for him, whether he is observing the 28 basic rituals that he is supposed to do. And there are some other checking points also. Okay. So first you have to examine if he satisfied all the conditions, then definitely he is a true guru and you should behave as if you are behaving with a true guru. Okay. So it is very difficult to recognize, in this path of liberation, there are innumerable ways in which you will get struck, somewhere or other. But there is only one way to get into the right direction, and stick to that right direction is very, very difficult. So even people come to this right path of liberation, but they somehow on the way gets distracted and adopt the wrong path. Okay, that is the tragedy in the path of liberation. So we should be very careful and be very aware what we are doing, what is the purpose, and we should examine before accepting something as a true preceptor. Okay. So that is our responsibility, and the fruits are also going to be enjoyed by us only. So if we take a correct decision, we will be always in happy space. And if we are not taking a correct decision, then we will suffer. Our time will go away and we will lose this birth, and we don't know when we will get another birth like this with all these associations, very rare associations. So it is our prime duty to be very careful and to alert us. Todramalji has written this 6th chapter for those people who are Jain but who are not the true preceptor, who are not the true gods and who are not the true religions, That is very important. Unless and until you don't know, it is very hard to examine, So all this knowledge is very useful because the first target would be to get rid of false god, false preceptor, and false religion. Once you get rid of that, then by understanding the 7 fundamentals, you can get rid of the inborn delusion. Okay. So these are the acquired delusion, and the delusion regarding 7 fundamentals is inborn delusion. It is coming from previous births. Okay. And this one you have acquired in this birth only. Okay. So you have to get rid of both kind of delusion to manifest the right faith. Okay. So you can, those of you who have not appeared for second objective, you can do so in the next couple of days. I think then the third paper will start. But anyways, all these papers will remain open up to, I think, 31st of this month. Not 31st, but because of this delay, I think it will go on up to
9th of February.
Okay, 9th of February. Okay, thank you. So 9th of February, you have time to complete all the 3 papers if someone has not completed. And if the assignments are pending, that I can manage. But this objective, once it's closed, it's very difficult to get it open. So best is you attempt while while on time. Okay. And the assignments, if they are pending, I will manage it. You have to just mention me and I will make it easy for you. So up to 4 points we have covered, and in the next class we will continue from the 5th point. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है. से नमोकार मंत्र